Hi, everybody. You guys still awake out there? This is my first time in India. I'm very excited to be speaking at this event. It's really great. Abhishek, Pratham, thank you so much for your guys' talks. It's pretty easy to follow them because they introduced some of the important topics that I'll talk about how Branch addresses the things like cross-device, cross-channel, that complicated customer journey. All of those things are paramount in our minds at Branch when we think about building the platform that we build and work on every day. Before I get into that, though, would you guys please join me in thanking the Branch team here in India that have made my stay great, but have also put on this great event and hosted us all this evening. Anjali, the rest of the team, thank you guys so much. Okay, the hardest part of this is how many of you have been doing mobile attribution for, let's say, over a year? Okay. And how many, well, I won't ask, but some of you have been doing it on Branch and have had it easy. Some of you have not been doing it on Branch and have had it more difficult. The challenge for Branch and for bringing a platform to the market like Branch is all of you that are experts at doing this, you've been doing it for as long as you've been doing it, you have to forget about some of what you know. Yes, the metrics matter. Yes, those fundamental issues that the previous two speakers spoke about, those things are important, and those things don't change. But what has changed and what Branch brings to the market is really a different perspective on what we need to do. We don't just need to measure. Clients of Branch use Branch links across all their marketing communications. You're entrusting us with some very important real estate. That link is super important because of the complexities, the fragmented ecosystem. That link has a lot of responsibility. And your guys' marketing communications ride on that link. So that link ought to be used not just to measure, which is up here, but that link ought to be used really to drive performance. At the end of the day, measuring is what happens at the bottom of the funnel. And counting the beans that come out of the bottom of the funnel is important, and you need to know what happens so you can spend your money wisely. But if you can actually increase the number of the beans using the same real estate, that's where Branch comes from historically. People know that we do deep linking and have the most robust deep linking. And that's an important factor to keep in mind when you think about the real estate you're entrusting us with and that link. So we really come at it thinking about both those things and how do we help you achieve these results, drive better business results, and measure them at the same time. And so that's integral to the Branch platform. And so if you remember nothing else from my talk today, it's that those two things, better performance, better results, and measurement, ought to be the same thing. You'll never buy deep linking separately from tracking on the Branch platform. That's right there, that says it all. If those things are separate, there's a whole bunch of problems that you're introducing which don't let you achieve these two objectives. So that's the end of my talk. That's all I really have to say. But now I'll go into some more details. Branch is a new platform because we think about those two things, and we think about them, like Pratham said, across all these different channels. Branch started, and all we used to do was we did organic channels, basically everything up there except ads. And clients came to us and they said, hey, we get better performance from Branch links in all these marketing channels. Can we use Branch links in ads? And so we started to build out the attribution and the capabilities, the integrations with ad networks, the partnership with Facebook, all those things so that we could truly be cross-channel and all channels, including ads. So when you use a Branch link there, you're driving a better experience. Abhishek talked about the importance of deferred deep linking. That's one of the experiences up here. If your deferred deep linking isn't working, those great offers that you're going to deliver to your clients, to your consumers, aren't going to have the impact that you want, right? So using Branch across all these channels drives their performance, and then the measurement on the back end, and the measurement of all your channels. Because, as Abhishek also talked about, it's not just one channel that you're interacting with your consumers on. It's all those channels, and you want to see which ones are actually driving. Where's the highest LTV coming from? Is it the Facebook campaign, as they saw? Is it another campaign? That stuff varies over time. And so using branch links across all your channels allows you to measure and gain insights as to which channels are really working. Why is this so challenging? At Branch, sometimes we say we want it to be simple like the web used to be. Abhishek also said that. It's not that way today. Let's talk about for a quick second why. It's not that way because it's super fragmented. Abhishek talked about this. You have all these different operating systems, all these devices, platforms, channels. At Branch, the other thing we like to say is that branch links just work. And branch links just work because we think about it across all these different ones, and we track thousands of different use cases. What doesn't work is just those two things again. It's broken links that don't allow you to deliver the customer experiences that you want to deliver to your consumers. And if you don't deliver that customer experience, somebody else is going to. And somebody else is going to deliver it. And it's not just your direct competitor. If you're in the travel business, it's not just Make My Trip that's delivering great customer experiences, and you have to hold yourself to that bar. You have to hold yourself to the bar that maybe Amazon is delivering, or that some other company is delivering, because that's what your consumers now expect. And the other thing that's broken because of the fragmented ecosystem is inaccurate data. The web functions one way, the app ecosystem functions another, and you lose data in between the two different platforms. Who's had a bad broken mobile experience? I won't ask you to raise your hands because I think it would be everybody. Broken mobile experiences happen all over. You know, the deferred deep linking doesn't work. Your offer doesn't get delivered to the consumer after they clicked on it, and they're not happy anymore. They're frustrated because that 10% off, they can't find it when they get in the app after they downloaded it, right? It's frustrating. Those kinds of things happen all the time, and that's a result of this fragmented ecosystem. You have broken attribution. Doing an ad and seeing an install, that's actually pretty easy. But that fluid customer journey that we talked about, that results in a whole bunch of other steps along the way, and you have to be able to piece those together to really understand the impact of your marketing activities. So what do you need to look for when you're thinking about this? Are your providers helping you bridge those gaps in the customer journey across browsers and apps, across channels? Are they helping you actually gain the visibility that you need? Or are they just tracking your ad campaigns, which is not unimportant, but it's only one piece of the puzzle? Can they provide a seamless user experience? Remember, you're entrusting them with your links. It's the currency by which all your marketing activities work. Can they really help you provide seamless user experiences, whether it's first time or not? Are you getting the business results that you think you ought to from all these marketing activities? It doesn't have to be as hard as sometimes we make it, or as sometimes we've grown accustomed to it being. So I've alluded to this already. I'll go quickly through this a little bit, but traditional solutions work just thinking about individual channels, web to web or app to app. When the app ecosystem started, that was an important new thing to track. And there were companies that just did app to app and just worked on app to app measurement, and companies that only had apps. But many of you in the room need to work across both. And when you work across both, the traditional methodology for doing this with fingerprinting is faulty. It just doesn't work over time. It doesn't help you track that fluid customer journey. So you have real gaps in visibility. You have real gaps in the experiences you're able to deliver. They waste your time and resources. And most importantly, you don't get the results that you're looking for, the money, the conversion rates, whatever the case might be. So you need a cross-platform solution. So I talked about two things already, the powerful links and the comprehensive attribution. If you have a cross-platform, that's what you should be thinking about. Branch, and Abhishek, again, thank you for introducing this topic. uses a persona graph. We talk about people-based attribution, which were in his slides, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But it's a fundamentally different, you have to forget about what you've known up until this point. This is a fundamentally different methodology for delivering better experiences and better measurement. The newest thing that Branch has introduced is universal ads. As I mentioned, we'd been doing deep linking and been doing attribution for all those other channels. About a year ago, we launched an ads product. And I'll talk a little bit about that in particular. What really got us into this market was the partnership with Facebook, which we announced a year ago today. Actually, it's a year ago tomorrow. I'm still a little jet lagged, so I can't quite tell which is what. But it's a year ago tomorrow that we announced our partnership with Facebook, and we're really happy to be announcing that 1-year anniversary. We have lots of clients who have adopted Branch and started using Branch now in the ads channel. We also acquired Tune, and one of the big attractions for Branch in acquiring Tune was their presence here in India. A lot of the great brands in the Indian market were using Tune. We're able to acquire that company, bring those clients over to Branch, add the Tune capabilities in the ad space along with Branch's capabilities in the ad space and Branch's broader capabilities in all those other channels, and really offer a first-in-class platform for these companies. Our universal ads product ties all this stuff together. Those issues we were talking about before, the fundamental methodology underneath is that persona graph, the people-based attribution, which ties together web IDs and app IDs to drive not just better measurement, but also more seamless customer experiences. So those seamless customer experiences, any NFL football fans? I need to find a better, like cricket or something. But coming from the States, just having the Super Bowl, NFL is a good example. The NFL uses Branch to drive that seamless user experience. First-time users, for example, that deferred deep linking use case, if somebody clicks on an ad about the Kansas City Chiefs, they want to see the Kansas City Chiefs when they get into the app. If you drop them on the home page and they can't find the content that they were looking for easily, they're just not going to be happy with the app, and you're not going to have the retention rates that you want. The matching, the deterministic matching that Branch has with the people-based capability allows us to deliver these experiences and to ensure that we're delivering them as close to 100% of the time as we can. Remember that chart or that slide from before? This isn't even that fluid. Abhishek had a better customer journey. This semi-fluid customer journey where you download the app and then you convert maybe on web or you convert sometime later on the phone. You don't want to lose that. You want to attribute it back to the Facebook campaign so that you can make sure that you're understanding the full impact of your Facebook dollars that you spent. And maybe you should be spending more than you already are because it's actually driving more of your business than you think. Or maybe you just went to the App Store and you were out to lunch and you got busy, you saw somebody you knew, and instead of downloading the app then, you downloaded it that evening or that weekend because you remembered you needed to book that weekend getaway and you needed the app. Fingerprinting is going to break down in a lot of these use cases, and the people-based attribution capability that Branch has will help make sure you get fuller visibility across all the channels. So this is what it might look like if you think about it. If you didn't have the people-based attribution and you had those 3 events from before, the download, the conversion later, and then the download later, those 3 events might look like this to you. You might overrepresent the organic, whereas intuitively, it's hard because of the fragmented ecosystem, but intuitively we might say, hey, all those events should be attributed to paid. In addition to these fundamentally new things that Branch has introduced to the market, we have some of the capabilities that you would expect. So cohort analysis, you can see over time the impact of the different campaigns that you're running in the ads channel. Remember though, Branch works across all channels, so the cohort analysis is truly cohort analysis for everything. You want to see how your email cohorts compare to your ad cohorts over time. You want to see how your referral link traffic is compared to your ads traffic. All that stuff is available in the platform. There's fraud. One of the things that I've heard a lot about in my meetings with some of the companies I've met with here in India is that there's a decent amount of fraud around. Branch has built in these fraud capabilities, and we're continuing to improve our fraud capabilities because our footprint across web and app gives us more data with which to identify fraud. Some of it is almost as simple as that. Because we have that broad web and app footprint, we can identify some of that. I'll spend 2 minutes on the persona graph and then happy to take questions and call back Pratham and Abhishek to join me. As we talked about, the ecosystem is fragmented. On your single device, and we're starting to work on cross-device stuff as well. We have a couple of beta clients that are testing cross-device with us. But on one single device, you have lots of different identities, if you will. Your Facebook app has a browser in it, that has a cookie. Your Gmail or whatever client might be, those are all different identities. What Branch has done is we've combined all those identities and tied them to a device ID, and that's the fundamental identity graph that underpins the entire platform. We're leveraging over 40,000 clients using the Branch platform to build this. There's over 2 billion personas. And if you think about that, the most important element here is time. You need time to get the client adoption. You need time to build up those personas. I've been at Branch for close to 3 years, and ever since I've been there, we've been building this up and building this up. And we wouldn't, if we just tried to flip the switch tomorrow, we would not have the capability that we have today. It takes time, and once you have that scale, it refreshes much more frequently, and all those types of good things happen. And so, that's one of the biggest advantages for Branch, I think. This would be very hard to build in-house, almost by definition. And we see when a client adopts Branch, they're covering about 78% of 80% of their user base. They're able to deterministically match thanks to the persona graph. That means you can deliver that seamless user experience. That means you can actually have more accurate attribution, not with fingerprinting. What are those, I like to bring it back to something tangible. What do those customized web experiences look like? How do we leverage this in other ways? Abhishek, again, talked about using the mobile web to try to drive app activity. If you think about on the left there, a standard web experience, you show up on the website, you see what's on the website, and that's it. But maybe you're an app user, but now somehow or other you wound up on the mobile website. The publisher has seen your in-app activity before. Here this user had used the app before and had searched for some Drake songs, right? So Branch, because we're able to recognize, thanks to that people-based, that persona graph, we're able to recognize an app user on the mobile web. We can show them an interstitial, a full-page sort of ad on the mobile website, on their own mobile web page, that says, hey, come back to the app. It's a better experience. Find your Drake songs, right? That experience on the right helps you ensure that you're delivering the right platform to the right user so they stay more engaged with you over time. Lastly, the people-based attribution underneath again, used across all these different channels, helps you really gain the insight into more of your activity, helps you weigh different channels against each other. Maybe it looks like this, maybe it looks like that. Over time, those things will change, but you need something that helps you gain that insight and it helps you track it in a manner that gives you the confidence over time so that you can pull the right levers when your management comes and says, hey, I've got another $100,000 or What's the word for I learned a new word today. How do you say like 100,000? It's like a rack or something? Yeah, so that new word. Somebody come up to me afterwards and tell me what that is again, because I already forgot. But somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've got another 100,000 racks to spend or whatever they are. What lever are you going to pull, right? You need this insight in order to be able to do it. Pratham, I'm sorry this isn't a Facebook case study, but it is a case study with a client of ours in the States. And we talked before about branch links just working. One of the ways that you see that, and we see that across clients, is that when you get a click, what % of those clicks actually wind up in the app opening? It should be 100%, right? Why shouldn't it be? But if you're in the 50 or 60% range, that's where we see a lot of clients. If you're in that range, you're missing a whole bunch, almost half. You're missing getting them the best experience to drive the conversions that you're looking for. This case study with Checkout 51 saw that their click-to-open rates increased by 43%. So they went from 50 to 93, I think the stat was. Yeah, there it is. And that increase alone, that increase in click-to-app open, drove a 10% increase in conversion rates. Think for your companies what 10% increase in conversion rate would do, right? More profitability, maybe profitability to begin with. Getting more from your existing customers, driving those better customer experiences is what we try to deliver and work on every day to help you guys get those better business results. And hopefully we can do that for more and more of you. And I can come back to India more frequently. Thank you.